Welcome back to Beyond the Rainbow. My name is Craig Bryson, and I am a co-host of the Creative Files podcast for administrative professionals. And today I'm with Steve Hutson. He's the founder of Superstars and the UK's first certified inclusive recruitment partner for tech via Outbritain. Steve, tell me, what is Outbritain?
Outbritain are a really brilliant organisation that's set up by Matt and Patrick, who are a husband team, basically working with the Scottish Chamber of Commerce to set up a department or a vision of getting gay businesses known out there to the UK. They've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now, and they've got over 1,000 businesses. We're very proud to be one of the 1,000, as it were, for tech and digital business as a recruitment agency. You have to go through that certification. I have a certificate to say that I'm gay, which is great.
I've not heard of anything like that before, so I'm glad that this is moving forward into the future.
Absolutely. We have to start learning corporate language, and corporates do want to take on diversity suppliers or inclusive suppliers, as we like to call them. How can they know for definite that this is an inclusive or a diverse company? Matt and Patrick are making huge steps forward to making that happen. I had to go through a long process to make this happen. It was good because now other corporates, and we've just won another massive corporate fortune to take us on as their first diversity supplier. That's because of the accreditation.
Great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Today, we're going to be talking about LGBTQ AI+. I'm hoping that we don't add any more of these.
Yeah, seriously. I just remember the days of being 61, so I embraced my elder gay side to say that I was Steve and I was gay. Now it's LGBTQ+ IA. We are evolving, which is great. But wouldn't nice if we just call ourselves.
Yeah.
That would be
Perfect. So we're talking about inclusion in recruitment. My first question is, what are the business wins of getting this right?
There's lots of really good fundamental research that has been done for businesses who are now much more inclusive. So if they are more inclusive, that means actually it impacts their profit margin. It means that they can have a much bigger customer base for themselves, because they have a much more interesting, diverse background of different sort of customers coming to them. But also what's really interesting as well is the research element, right? So if you have a much more diverse individuals in your family or teams to help your goods, services, products, you have lots of different viewpoints coming in. So that makes it much more powerful. You'll have a much better product or service to give out there to the world, and you just have a much bigger market. There is some cases it's been proven that it could increase their profit margins up to about like 20% on that side of things.
Wow.
It's a lot, because most corporates usually think about 3 or 4%. Well, I don't understand why they're not embracing this, because as we're not a figure, we're human.
Yes. So there's a higher retention and engagement. People stay where they're respected, not just hired. And I think that's important for us.
Absolutely. I think what also is like we should definitely be embracing for the future, the millennials, Gen Z and others. But it's been proven again that over 85% of those under 25-year-olds are looking for companies with real strong inclusive policies, and they don't understand why they're not there. If you want your future talent coming in to give you more of that additional great teams for you for the future, we should be embracing this from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, it seems that inclusive hiring pays off on every level.
It really does, and it's just more fun. It's great to have wouldn't it be boring if we walked in and it was all like everybody was drones and all this sort of stuff and they all looked the same and did the same? That's a dead company.
Cookie cutters.
We want alive, vibrant companies, and that's what I love. I've interviewed over 12,500 people for my career, and those are all different cultures, different ethnicities, different religions, different sexualities, all over the world, and that's been super exciting. I know we're rich in talent in this world of ours.
Well, I really like that. So with recruiters, where do you think they still struggle or fall short of the hiring?
I think there's a number of things going on for recruiters. They're not all evil, for a start. So we are evil, but we're not. I'm one of the nice ones. If you think about there is no training for recruiters at all.
Yeah.
Right. There's no school you can go to and say, this is a recruitment school. There's no ethics because it's considered like a sales exercise. It's not a people exercise. We're still doing recruitment from 100 years ago. So we need to be much more open and understand who our cultures are. 100 years ago, there wasn't the kind of inclusive world that we are, but now the huge technology has put us all together. So we need to embrace new processes, new ideas. It's an interesting trend as well, where recruiters thought AI will resolve everything, but it's not. And even worse, clients think AI is going to resolve everything in recruitment. That's not going to happen. We use it as a brilliant tool. But I think what's important now is recruiters, they're failing because they're not being trained properly.
Exactly, yeah.
It's all about KPIs and stuff. It's not about people. As soon as we get proper training going in, or showing the way, or more mentors and other people like myself who are out in the business world, I think that would be great. You'd be great in that kind of area. The world, what's more for you and your experience.
Exactly. And I find and then we come to a stage in all our lives where it's, oh, you can't say that, or did you say the wrong thing? You can't do this. Everybody's tiptoeing around. And it's that discomfort and the assumptions. I think we need to squash that, because you need to feel free to discuss the difficult questions.
That's really true. And that's what I mean about creating safe spaces, right? And I think there's also this thing I call ally fear. It's a case when allies who really do want to support us and look after us and come up with some great ideas for us, but they don't know sometimes how to approach us. And then they're terrified because they think they're going to be sued. And it's like, we need to create safe spaces for them too. It's a case, if we think about the years about me and you, Craig, have gone through our lives and the very interesting questions people have asked us in the past, it's a case of like, we need to be able to answer them confidently. For me, I'd much rather people come up to me and say, in a professional context, obviously, so, do I call you Stevie? Do I call you gay? What is LGBTQ plus? And I always answer Stevie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Because when you get invited to a dinner party and go, this is my gay friend Craig, and it's like, why do you have to say gay friend Craig? I'm okay with friend, but I didn't go, here's my heterosexual friend Craig. So it's the assumption of discount. It's also about not having enough LGBTQ representation within recruitment. I think you're one of the recruitments, but I find that a lot of the people who are interviewing me aren't LGBTQ. And I think it needs to be, but I think if there was more in the position of the recruiters, it'll be easier because you feel you can relate.
Yeah, again, it's really important. That's why it's so important to do face-to-face interviews, right? Then you meet somebody, you can feel them, understand the culture and everything else. And I always, when I was running the larger agencies in my past, I was very active in making sure that was inclusive with my teams. It was gender balanced. There was loads of great allies in there, lots of different cultures. Sometimes they would argue, and that's my job as a manager to come in and look after them and all that sort of stuff. But I think the more representation you get into recruitment, the better it is for everybody. And also be proud about it. It's creating those safe spaces to be enabled to do that. Building out a wonderful world of LGBTQIA+, we still have people terrified about coming out in the workplace.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well. Oh. Do you think that companies are using the inclusion as just a checkbox exercise?
Yeah, that's such a lovely question. And the answer is yes.
I thought so. It's like gay, yes. Asian, yes. All those diversities.
Yes. That's all stuff. Neurodiversity, we're still thinking about it. Yes. And it's because a lot of the board members who are working in this world only give 5 minutes to inclusion, which is a lot better than it was like 3 or 4 years ago, because they wasn't even doing that before on that side of things. We must remember, this is not because they don't want to. It's because they don't know how to. And it goes back to what we said about this, the ally fear, the fear of asking the right questions. Can I do this? What is this? And it's also like the comm side of things as well, is like, what communications are coming through to me? This is where like executive assistants like you would be amazing on that side of things, because you can inform your senior people straight away, look, this is me, this is how I feel, this is what's going on, and we can deal with that. It's another high-end skill, as it were, for people like yourselves who do great things like this.
It only seems to come out when it's June, it's Pride Month. Let's get a banner out and let's get some flags out and then meet up for drinks. And then after that month, it's put in a box for next year.
Exactly. And it's, we're like, it just would be fabulous for us just to be gay for June. Wouldn't you? Steve said, definitely no. Yeah. I'm gay every minute of my life.
Yeah.
Yes. The whole thing about companies and boards, it's not necessarily their fault, but they must have the attitude to actually make a difference and make a change. These people, these companies that do embrace inclusivity and everything else will have fantastic companies and amazing people come and join those organizations. You're right. It's a great example. The beauty about us working with Out Britain and being recognized as an LGBTQE business now. The nice thing about that is even on Companies House, if we are talking about tick boxes, where's the LGBTQ plus one then?
That's true. That's true.
Well, it's on there.
No.
And Out Britain has discovered through their research, and it's underestimated, that our world is worth to the UK alone 105 billion.
Wow.
To say this is part of an LGBTQE business on that side. I think it's really important that we move away from figures and we get into people and we get into process and we get into proper understanding of who we are, not just about LGBTQ as a platform is fantastic, because then we can touch all of the ethnicities, all of the human beings that we are together and use us to do that. That would be a really great way forward. And there's not enough senior or director level or board level out gay business people either. Get that out there as well. You know, it's bad enough with gender balance in those teams already, and it's improving, but it's still not great.
Yeah.
So imagine then having an LGBTQ member up there. There's still, and I know loads.
Yeah. They don't want to come out the closet and work. That is so frustrating. Yeah. That must be really difficult for them. So it brings me to my other question about policy talk. How do we actually change recruitment practices and behaviors? And how do we train staff and adjusting their language and setting accountability?
There's many ways of doing that. I like to do it in the most simplest way, which is what I used to do with my teams is I always used to get donuts. Donut gamification. Get the team in for coffee and donuts, and I'd say, so just tell me about yourselves. I created a safe space in the office to do that. I could lead that way by saying, I'm an out gay person. Doing something simple like that really starts embracing humanity in our world. And then the next step is actually there's many wonderful organizations out there that have already done this stuff and set up great policies. I think for our teams, we have to be proactive and get people in front of that. Pride Month is great because we have a few drinks, maybe celebrate gay people. Get closer and do that and show them that there is policies and there is ways of protecting LGBTQ plus people, which we don't often use. We just go and get ourselves another job. It's like, it's there for you to be protected because people like you and me have fought for those rights of people and they should be there. So I think it's a lot of things that we need to do and do better, but we have made some steps forward.
So policies on paper mean nothing if they aren't backed up by action.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just
yes, Craig. Boom. Yes. That's completely right.
We have explored real use of policies versus performative ones, like pretty statements, no training, no data, no feedback loop. And then you have policies that are embedded, discussed, reviewed, and enforced. So do you have any idea of what we should be doing about that?
I think we're still in a very big learning stage right now. I think it's very much a case of we can be experimental and try things out, right?
Yeah.
So, and let's keep it simple, right? So let's keep it as a human approach as much as possible. I often say to allies, how would you like to be approached? How would you like to be told? Imagine that you had to come out as heterosexual every single day, right? How does that make you feel? When you understand that feeling, that really impacts, right? Suddenly, so having those kind of safe conversations would be really helpful because then you can use those conversations then to impact policy, right?
Okay.
Right. From those conversations, that's what you need to be doing. It's having that safe space, have those conversations, getting HR involved in the place. This is not a singing exercise. This is a learning exercise, and HR is here to protect the company and the employees. It's a case of, from that, we need to think out of the box a little bit on that side of things. On the performance side of things, as I just mentioned, LGBTQ plus alone is worth 105 billion as a market in the UK alone. Imagine trillions of dollars and yen and pounds and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So policy should be the starting line and not the finish line. And I think that's also quite important.
You've experienced that, right?
Yeah.
So you've got stories you've told me about what happened to you and that sort of thing. So I think it's important, even through this exercise, that's why I love Beyond the Rainbow. It's because we are going beyond the rainbow.
We are.
Look, I'm more than happy to talk about these frankly. If we think about it, this week is Mental Health Awareness Week. This week, I put a post out about this week, and I was shocked at the stats on that side of things. It was LGBTQ plus specific, which I got out to everybody. So I need to say something. I said, which is true, that I'm seeing a counsellor. I want to show that even as people perceive me as this, which is very lovely of them, they all say, oh, you're super successful. No, I'm just a nice human being who's passionate about recruitment, is passionate about people. And I've had some losses in my life, which is actually from mum and stuff, which the world do know about. And it's a case I need to address that. So I think it's being able as a senior leader to actually go out as a thought leader, I'm doing this too. I think it's very important.
When my mom passed away, it was, I'm bottling it up and down and dealing with it. I'll deal with it later. Life keeps getting in the way. And that's quite unhealthy. And I had to just have 10 sessions on it. It's just to offload what I was feeling, and dealing with my emotions. That is really important, because once you dealt with it and accepted it, you can move on. If you don't, it's a huge big black bag on your back that you're carrying around with you, with all this information that you haven't dealt with in your head and swimming around, and it does become burnout, or you start breaking, basically.
And it's okay to be broken, because guess what? We're human beings. We can be put back together again and we become something else. And that's the beauty about being LGBTQ plus IA. And we think about the trans community and all the nonsense that they've done. Craziness. Come on. It's just like being elder gay. I've been around in the early days of when the trans rights it was so difficult then. Why are we making it more difficult again? Again, it's just like this whole point of thinking differently and just coming with a heart to this situation and a mind of question, and not being right to ask those questions will change this world. And we can only change it by small things, but not by small things having the donut conversation leading to the policy change. That's the sort of thing that we should be looking at and doing every single day in that sort of we can on that side of things is really important.
I'm hoping that when this goes out to all the social medias, that people will be able to get in contact with us and share their stories. I think this should be a platform for all those people who haven't been able to give their voice. And this is very important, that there is a space that they can share their voice. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, 1,000,000% goosebumps. That is really true and awesome. And they have valid points to tell the world. And everybody should be listening, because it's lessons learned. What creates change in this world. And even Mr. Orange Man doing all his weird and wonderful. No, I'm still tossing out the injuries and saying, Stevie said no, for in the.
It's a flat thing.
Because I'll give you an example of that is a university I was asked to come and speak. I'll actually be part of the audience. It was my friends who were speaking. And it's all about gloom and doom, because it's all just about what Mr. Orange had been doing. And so these people were like the 25-year-olds, really like very smart, starting their MAs and all sorts of different things. And they look so sad. So I just said, this is Gay History Month. Let me remind you about all the great things that we've done.
Yeah.
And you've been involved in these things as well.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. And things. It's the most recent change, which was bizarre, was 2023. They finally let gay men and bisexual men give blood. And I'm like,
I don't understand. I was mortified when I first went to donate blood, and then you had to tick the boxes on I'm gay. Oh, sorry. Oh, and it was just so awkward. We can't take your blood. I'm like, what? Oh, so fine. I'm out of here. I'm here to help other people. And unfortunately, due to my sexual orientation, I cannot donate blood. And that was shocking.
You can keep your digestive biscuits because
and your orange juice.
Your orange juice. Legally right. But I think it's what younger students were saying to me was like, thank you. They said, we didn't realize all these things going on. And then there was a realization for me, because some of them were genuinely upset about this. One was actually in tears as I became house mother to look after him. I love RuPaul, so that's why I'm a house mother. it was fascinating for me because they were saying, we thought, get this, we thought all our rights would be taken away. What? Yeah, because they've been born into all the work that we've done and other fabulous gays like ourselves who've changed the laws around the world as much as we can to give the Gen Zs and the millennials the rights that they have today. I said, let me assure you right now, it didn't take us like 40 odd years in the UK, go through this various changes for you to lose those rights. That ain't gonna. Stevie definitely says no. It's not gonna happen. It was so reassured. But then the learning for me was we need to be talking about this again. We need to be talking about this more. That's why I'm doing this with you, because we can do this together.
Yes.
What you said before about getting other people's stories out here. So we're open audiences. Just come.
Yes. And if you guys, and all you guys, girls, and all the colors of the rainbows, you know where to find us. Why don't you DM us and we can answer your questions and probably have you on Beyond the Rainbow as a guest to chat about these subjects. So stay tuned.